So apparently more Democrats are pulling their support from Maine Senate candidate Graham Platner as more accusations emerge against him that he's denying. Yesterday, Maine Democratic Party Executive Director Devin Murphy Anderson claimed that Platner wants a say in who would take his place. Take a look.
We have repeatedly reiterated to Graham Platner's team that they have no role in determining our next Democratic nominee for the U.S. Senate, nor in determining what this process looks like. We have also reiterated that Graham Platner must drop out of this race so that Democrats in Maine can focus on defeating Susan Collins this November.
So the Platner campaign denied they're trying to influence the replacement process, but 72% of primary voters chose Platner for his stance on issues. Now, should he play some role in making sure his replacement shares the same kind of stance? I mean, should he say, listen, I'm stepping down, but here's somebody who, you know, follows these kinds of things that I also believe in, or should he just get out and let them figure it out?
I think he should get out, and because I don't think if he's not qualified for the job, he's not qualified to pick his successor. He didn't get the job. He was pushed out. So, and the voter...
Well, they voted him in.
They voted him in, but they didn't have all the knowledge. And there were still rumors, and when people... No, well, the rumors were there, but when the voters went to the polls, they did not have all of these stories.
No, they didn't.
So it kind of discounts the information they came in with. The Maine law says that the Democratic Party then places someone or has a replacement for him. So he doesn't get a say, but he's kind of holding his position hostage because they only have so much time before they can put someone in that could be a good candidate.
They knew that he had this so-called Nazi tattoo on him. They knew that, and he claims he didn't know it was. If I have a third nipple, I know it's there, okay? This is the dumbest, I've never heard anything so stupid. Based on that, he should get out and shut up.
Right, yeah. No, he can't have any say in his replacement. I agree with you. I mean, I think that's ridiculous, and I think it's clear that he has to step down. The issue is he's got to step down, I believe, by July 13th. If not, they don't get they don't get the opportunity to appoint someone else, the Democratic National Committee in Maine. He's just
why they have time.
It's just under the state's law.
It's just under the state's
to get them
law.
on the ballot.
The party has until July 27th to actually nominate a new person, and he's got to get out because I really do believe that Maine is in play. I do believe that Susan Collins is beatable, and I think once they just have the right candidate with all the appropriate information, the Democrats really could take that seat, and that's a very important seat. The Democrats need 4 seats to take the majority over, and we're in an existential crisis.
It's urgent.
We need to flip the Senate.
I'm just struck by how Dems botched this so badly, though, because to your point, like the path to Dems taking the Senate, I think always ran through Maine. That was always going to be one of the important pickup seats. They had 6 years to recruit against Susan Collins and to vet somebody and to look into their past statements, to look into the tattoos that they might have. I mean, listen, Texas just nominated a lunatic in Ken Paxton, so like it's not like the other party isn't guilty of this as well. But when the stakes are so high and when the path to the Senate runs through this, how were they not able to find this? And this is where I think consultants did know. I think that a lot of people who are making a lot of money around him knew. There were whispers, now there's reports, but that he had issues with women, and people kept saying, no, look away.
We talked about it months ago that he had to. So people did know, and they held their nose. We talked about that as well. They held their nose and
but they didn't have the rape accusation.
But you know what? I don't know, given what's happened just in our world right now, how the country... who's in charge of it. I think people held their nose and said, I'm going to take a step.
I don't know that they knew about the rape.
You know what? Apparently, even when people know about these things, they still elect people.
Well, that is true. That is true.
What I'm saying and have said from the beginning is people need to vet the people who are coming out. It's not enough anymore for me to say, well, you know, this one has this and this one. Can't we get somebody who has maybe nothing?
Right. That's where character should matter as much as policy and as much as what jersey you wear. And we're not vetting character.
No,
they
we're
need
not.
to strip search them also.
What?
Strip search.
Just in case they have a third nipple.
Exactly.
It's,
yeah.